So today I want to talk about alarm clock apps, specifically the one for iOS, which, in my opinion, is complete garbage. I mean, sure, there are no ads in the app and no extra bloat and things like that. So it's not like it's as bad as, say, those free apps in the App Store that have all the ads and all that kind of stuff and all the pop-ups. But in terms of an app coming from a company like Apple, an app that's a native app that comes with your device, it comes with your phone right out of the box. A lot of times those kind of apps don't have a lot of features, and I'm not really asking for a ton of features here, but I am asking for a little bit of common sense. A perfect example of this for the iOS app is you cannot see the snooze intervals. You can turn snooze on and off for an alarm, but you cannot see how many times it's going to repeat, and you cannot see at what interval it's going to repeat at, which to me is crazy. Like, that's insane. That's right, you cannot see how many times the snooze is going to take place, and you can't see the duration of each snooze. Apple's just like, hey, we'll take care of that for you. We know what's best. We know the perfect time. We know the perfect intervals. We've looked at the sleep studies. We know what's best for you. But as a user, when you don't know that information, even if it's the best practice based on sleep studies, you can't plan around it. So I'm here setting multiple alarms, sometimes even every half hour. But what ends up happening is that these alarms, because snooze is turned on for all of them, they end up overlapping. So I end up getting a snooze alarm going off, and then another snooze alarm going off. So in terms of getting annoyed and waking up, I guess it is pretty productive, but in terms of the app design itself, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't help the user figure out what the best practice is when turning on and off certain alarms for a specific day, whether you're going to work or you have some kind of special occasion or whatever it may be. You need to know how these snooze features work, because it really determines how you're going to set up the rest of the alarms. Do you need more than one alarm? Maybe you don't. Maybe you do. It really depends on how the snooze feature works. The second feature for the iOS clock app, which is garbage, is the repeat feature. You can only select individual days. So if you want to do the entire week, or you want to do Monday through Friday, you have to individually toggle each one of them on and off. You can't click Monday through Friday on and off. You have to click Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And that's for every individual alarm. You can't do that system-wide for the app. Every individual alarm, you have to do that for. It's just like obnoxious. And sure, I guess you could create two alarms at the same time and have them, and have the repeating schedule different for each one of them. But in my mind, all you're doing is basically cluttering up the list of alarms you already have, especially not knowing how the snooze is going to work. You already have a ton of alarms. So what are you going to duplicate all those alarms? You're going to have 20, 30 alarms. It's just too much when you think about it. It's just not a simple design. The third feature that sucks with the iOS clock app is you cannot turn off all your alarms at once. Just like with the repeat feature, you have to individually toggle each alarm on and off. You can't turn them all on at once. You can't turn them all off at once. You have to individually just waste your time every day. Boop, boop, boop. And if you have 10, 30 alarms because you have trouble getting up in the morning or whatever it might be, you have to do this every single day, or these alarms are just going to keep going off throughout your day. If you've already woken up, too bad. You have to remember to turn off every single one. I completely understand that this design, in terms of the developers and the designers of the app, is simple. But for the user, it's actually the complete opposite. It makes it more complicated because now we have to individually remember to do all these steps. All it would take is adding a button at the top or at the bottom somewhere to toggle all the alarms on and off. The fourth feature that annoys me with the iOS clock app is the time picker. It's the default iOS time picker, and it is clunky, it is outdated, and just overall, in my opinion, obnoxious. I don't want to have to scroll an infinite wheel to pick a number for my alarm. I want something that's a little bit faster, a little bit more intuitive, and just something that takes the overall friction out of something that should be simple in the first place. And this actually reminds me of an app called Timely, which was only available on Android, and I used it all the time once I discovered it. and it was fantastic because it had this really unique user interface when you were to pick your time for your alarm. It allowed you to use your thumb to slide up and down the screen to select an alarm, and it would only go within 15-minute increments, and of course give you the option to get more precise if you wanted to. But for the average person, no one's going beyond the 15-minute mark. I mean, these are alarms. They're not just specifically times of exactly when you're going to do things. They're to help you, remind you, and to wake you up and things like that. So the 15-minute interval, honestly, in my opinion, was just perfect. Not to mention the UI for this app was honestly well beyond anything that I would ever expect when it comes for a clock app. And you are able to change the themes and select cool colors and cool backgrounds, and it was a really nice app. It wasn't perfect, but it was really nice. It was definitely a step in the right direction for sure. Then just when I thought I had the perfect alarm clock app, Google decided to acquire Timely, and we haven't heard anything since. The app, as far as I know, is not even in the App Store anymore. But I would honestly love to get that app back. I would love to get it on all the platforms, get it on iOS, and I would even love to get it on the desktop. It was just a great clock app to use for your alarms, and I miss it. I really do. And finally, the fifth and last feature of this video that annoys me with the iOS clock app, the fact that there's not even a remotely semi-smart feature where the app knows you're awake. Yeah, sure, there's a gray area, but there are definitely some behaviors that we do using our phones that make it pretty clear that we're awake. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if you've been on your phone for 30 minutes or an hour, it's pretty clear that you're awake. Like, you're not going to sleep at this point, especially with everyone being addicted to their phones and everything. I mean, you're not going back to sleep, at least for a while. The app could just display a simple pop-up on the screen and say, hey, it looks like you're awake. Should I turn off all the alarms for you? And you just click OK. Then you don't have to go on throughout your day with all your alarms that you set up going off constantly, every hour, every half hour, whether, you know, while you're in the shower, in the bathroom, in the other room downstairs, trying to cook, trying to focus on whatever it is you're trying to focus on. Just overall trying to focus on something else while your phone is like beep, beep, beep. Your phone is just raging in the other room because you forgot to turn off all your alarms. Having this simple smart feature, I think, would save a lot of people a lot of headaches. So yeah, that's just my 2 cents on the iOS clock app. Do you know of a better app for iOS or even Android that you would like to recommend that you've been using that you think is actually pretty good? Let me know in the comments below, and feel free to reach me on Twitter. I'm there as well. We can start a conversation about software or anything else. Until next time, I will see you in the next video.